Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today was our store championship, our first ever store championship for my area. Was super exciting. We made it to the final round. I was not expecting to really make it to the final round, but I wanted to do it anyways. We were taking our red-yellow hybrid with the recent hit of Jet Sylphie. I was curious to see if this would still stand up, just because in an OTK meta, having stuff, like Gaia Force and just multiple other removal options in security potentially, I felt like it was a really good matchup against stuff like Alpha and Grandis and D Reaper. Also, I originally built this list with the anticipation of going against D Reaper last format, and then I just kind of carried it over to this format and then just made some changes with the new cards that we've got, the new red-yellow cards, and was very happy with the deck. So I've got the full final match for you guys today. Very excited. If you want to see more match videos, I want to start taking my camera to locals and just the finals of every single week, try to record those matches. If you guys want to see that, if you're interested in that, then let me know in the comment section below, and I'll try to get more like this. All right, and then at the end, we'll also go over both decks, as the person I was playing against was my good long-term friend, Austin. Made it to the finals, squaring off against each other, and he was actually using the Black War Gaiomon that we featured on the channel last week. So he just had his own little rendition, a couple of changes that he did it on his own for the deck. Very cool. We'll go over that deck as well. Alright, so I've got this sped up for you guys, but I didn't want to make any sort of cuts like normal. Just wanted to play it all the way through here. So we're just seeing some pretty standard plays here. We got Tapirmon going into Deltamon, getting that nice reduction set up for future plays here. We got my yellow hybrid here, and just playing out the TK and Kari just to kind of hold them off. You don't want to swing in yet, because I don't want you don't want to start giving me a whole bunch of memory. And so that was the reasoning on playing that one right there. And they're just going to follow it up with playing the Searcher there. I think that is it Maki? And getting that Black War Gaiomon. Just playing out the Sunrise Buster immediately. We've got the red egg and the yellow tamer, and just clear that off, because I know that Deltamon is a beast, especially when you incorporate the tamer into it. They can just get into so many big plays, and I just didn't have any removal for dealing once it got any bigger. So just get rid of it while it's small was my thought process there. And this was today, so this is all still pretty fresh. Hopefully I don't forget to say anything. We'll see. Evoing into a Kazi here, just getting super aggressive, drawing to the Gaiomon, so setting up for future turns. And then just going into the Shakuamon. I know that they're about to drop some sort of big bomb on me, so I just want to kind of pad my security as much as possible here. And there we see the Black War Gaiomon come down, popping the Tamer, but does pass it, so it does give us an opportunity to kind of react here. They have no blocker inheritable on that Black War Gaiomon, so we got to take advantage of that while we can. Get that draw, too, from the Gaiomon. Hits into an Agumon, so it does die there. But yeah, just gotta be as aggro as possible. They do have the Metal Greymon, so they can attack unsuspended Digimon, so that Shakuamon in a very dangerous position. So just go ahead and swing that in there. At least get a security check before it dies. And then playing out a Zoe to pass turn. Just trying to stay aggressive here. We see the one of Jet Sylphie. Nice pickup for sure. Yeah, just got to stay aggressive, because I played against enough Black War Gaiomon that as soon as they get that blocker inheritable, it is a struggle to deal with, especially when they get the Gaiomon on field with that reboot. So every turn they're swinging, and then they're rebooting, and they got that blocker. It is such a pain to deal with that. And there we do see the Gaiomon for 1 Evo cost, thanks to that Tamer. He unfortunately hits into a TK, so we'll get that TK effect there to search. Grabbing the reinforced memory boost, potentially, setting up for some nice recovery. And then second check is just a Gaiomon. So will set us to 3. That TK is a nice pickup for sure. I did see the Gaiomon there, and they grabbed a Tapirmon as well. So solid searching off that Black Tamer Maki. Super, super strong here. Kicking it back over to my side here. Just trying to figure out what we got going on here. Looks like there's several hybrids in hand, as well as the Jet Sylphie. Don't want to shotgun it out too quickly here, though. Looks like we're down to 4 security, so we're okay. But, two swings from a Gaiomon and an Agumon, that takes down 3 security. So got to be kind of careful here. Just going to Evo there. We do see another Gaiomon. Very nice luck on that. Usually don't have quite such good luck. There we do see the Jet Sylphie come down. Again, just going to pad that security out a little bit. And now you get a debate, do you want to swing in or not? It swings in, no punish, just hits into an Agumon. Very, very fortunate. For the most part, though, a lot of that stuff is pretty small. Here we do go into the Seraphi, so we get the heal, but also they basically have to use their attack to kill the Seraphi, because they only have 2 security left, and there's a Gaiomon and a TK, so plenty to clean up the game with. They have to deal with the Seraphi right here, which again is almost like protecting my security. So lose 1 Seraphi, but keep 2 security from the Gaiomon. So it's a decent trade there. I'm able to prolong the game and like take a little bit longer. Where the longer they take, the scarier my security gets. The more TKs we play and Zoes, just filtering out all the non-security options is very, very scary. Unfortunately, just playing a Tapirmon there and passing turn, swinging in with a Gaiomon does die in the security check. Got him down to 1 security, though, and we're up to, I believe that is 6. We have 6 security, so we're in a pretty good position. They do have a very large field, though, so got to be kind of careful here. Going into the Kazimon, getting rid of our Memory Fixer, hitting into a Maki, so now they're going to get a dig here. Not what we want to see. They got into another, I believe that was a Tapirmon there that they bottom decked. I might have missed that, but I think it was. I could have been wrong. And then just playing a Zoe here to pass turn, try to pull out any hybrids, and again, just making our security extra, extra scary. And also giving us a hybrid to swing for game with on a following turn. Assuming they can't get into anything. We don't want to give them too much memory here because that deck can pop off, especially with 3 Tamers there, reducing those Evo costs. That can be super, super rough. So try to choke that deck as much as possible. If they're not playing Memory Fixers, take advantage of that and try to keep them at 1 and 2 as much as possible. Even at 1 and 2, though, they can still do some pretty remarkable plays. Here they're going to swing with the Gaiomon, 2 security checks. Doesn't hit anything bad, unfortunately. Got us down to 3 security, though. So getting into that really kind of scary position at this point. Goes into a Deltamon for 1 here. Swings over the Kazemon, don't want to deal with that, and they've got to put us at 1 memory here, which they do. So 2 Evo cost into that Metal Greymon to pass turn. Doesn't give us enough to get into a hybrid here. So got to be very, very cautious at this point. Has 6 things on field, so we know what that means. We got a 2 cost Death Xmon here. Going to reduce that field and then pop 2 off there. So no Gaiomon currently, but 1 could very easily show up. But we are at, looks like 4 security. Wow, that's a monster stack still. So not looking too good there. At 3, they could have gone into Gaiomon, cleared 2, swung with the Agumon, cleared the last one, and then Blitz Omni'd for game. But at 4 security, that's just a little too much, just barely too much for them to be able to OTK through. I guess it's not really an OTK, but you know what I mean. It's a lot of security for them to get through. So really trying to think this play out here at this point. They have to find a way to clear the Death Xmon as well as choke the memory. So 0 Evo cost here, swings into security, hits into a Crimson Blaze as well as the Tamer here. That Tamer is going to give us 1 extra memory. Goes for Blitz Omnimon just for kicks and hits into another Death Xmon. And that will clean it up. Either way, though, that Tyankari kind of sealed the deal there and gave us the extra memory we needed. So game 2 here, looks like we're going to go first here. Definitely a smart play by Black or Greymon. You do not want to, you definitely want us to go first. Although seeing the ultimate starting hand, though, Gaiomon as well as a TK, grabbing out the Seraphi to give us more recovery. Need as much recovery as possible, for sure. Sometimes it just takes us a little bit longer to punch through here. We're going to see they're going to add the X antibody as well as the blocker inheritable Greymon, which is exactly pretty much what they want to see here. They will go ahead and Evo it, though, and pass turn. Go ahead and swing with that Gaiomon while we can, get those 2 draws, because once that Greymon blocker becomes live, you know, our plays tend to slow down quite a bit. So got to be very, very cautious at this point. Just playing out a 4-cost Tamer to pass turn. So whatever they decide to Evo on top of that Greymon will pass them their turn back. They might choose to swing in with that Agumon, though, just to get a little bit of board presence. Potentially. Bringing us down to 4 security isn't too bad. We'll still be matching. And it's not within the Tai and Kari range either. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and Evo, though, that Metal Greymon. Bring that blocker online for them. No effect, though, which is very unfortunate. Here we see another Gaiomon. About time the Gaiamon's putting in work. And again, just like Game 1, playing that Sunrise Buster now while the target is killable. Because once we do prefer to kill the Megas, but sometimes we only have enough Tamers to clear out the level 5, so clear it out now before it gets scary. And either way, the blocker inheritable is now in trash, and that was our main goal, so we got that in trash, and that's super huge. Yeah, so as well as got another Duo Tamer here. Gaiomon swinging in, though, just staying aggressive. I know we got the Duo Tamer, but that's okay. Here they do hit the Tapirmon as well as another Metal Greymon. So got a pretty solid hand of their own over there. So we got to definitely play this cautious. Looks like we have a hand full of hybrids. So very, very nice. Go ahead and Evo on top of that TK and Kari, because they're probably not going to be doing us any good for a bit now. And again, we just kind of want to stay aggressive at this point before they try to start walling up against us. It is a black-based Black War Greymon Gaiomon deck. So that, they do have the blockers and things like that, ways to slow us down and control our board. So you don't want to get too awkward here. Go into the Shakumon, though, just to give a little bit extra security, a little bit extra padding. Probably trying to get into that Seraphi on the following turn, because now we got the TK. The Tai and Kari is live because they're at 3, so there's no need to swing in necessarily with that Kaze first. Unfortunately, this is a big awkward play here. So they de-digivolve, and for some reason, I suspend the Kazemon. Like, no reason to. I don't know what was going through my head there. So that is a huge misplay that they're going to take advantage of. So they're going to swing over that. So I lose a body literally for pretty much no reason here. And then they're going to Evo into a Black War Greymon here to pop a Tamer to pass turn. So they could have popped the Kazemon instead, and I would have kept my Tamer. But either way, I definitely get myself a little bit on that one. So playing it a bit of a handicap at this point. So I don't know how neither player caught that. That is pretty it's pretty messed up, honestly. You're here playing a Zoe, gonna grab out a Zephyrmon. Again, we have plenty of hybrids in hand. It's more we're just trying to get the weak stuff out of security. Playing another Zoe because I know there's more hybrids in there, and again, just trying to get something powerful, something spicy into that security for them to swing into. Now they do probably potentially have a delicate plan, which is something you got to be worried about. But in a black build, it's less likely just because they don't have the raw security attack numbers, because they're not playing stuff like the Greymon. Now they could have something like a Tsunarizamon, but most of the builds aren't opting for the Tsunariza. And I believe he's on the Chikuri line, because Chikuri is super strong against something like D-Reaper. De-Digivolve that D-Reaper is so nutty. Alright, Black War Greymon just going to swing in here, get one check, and just hits into a Tai and Kari. So we instantly got one back after they deleted the last one. So that's going to put us in a very, very nice position with them being at 3 security. They have no way of recovering, so that's pretty much good for the rest of the game at this point. Here they're just going to play an Agumon to pass turn, adding out that Gaiomon since it's treated as a Greymon. And Memory Fixer there to bump us up to 3, and then Tai and Kari will bump us up to 4. Which would give us plenty here to swing in. The Tai and Kari reducing it by 2k, allowing our Zephyrmon to survive. So strong. Swinging with the second one. Gaiomon is still way too big, though, which we will lose at that point. So in a pretty good position. They're down to 1 security at this point. So got to play this kind of cautiously. Looking at their board, they go into a Gaiomon. That's 2 checks. Agumon, that's a check. Greymon, that's a check. That's 4 checks. We're at 4 security. A Blitz Omnimon for game is totally a possibility at this point. So got to be super cautious in our next play here. Just kind of trying to think ahead of what they're going to be potentially doing. Looks like we got a Crimson Blaze in hand. Good Crimson Blaze for 4 to clear that Agumon. That is 1 less check. But just goes for the Death X-Mon instead. De-Digivolve that, as well as clear the Agumon. So it does take the Agumon off board, the same as the Crimson Blaze would have, but it also de-Digivolves, which is pretty nice. So if they want to go into a Gaiomon, that'll take a lot more of an investment. Granted, they do have more memory to work with, but it does force out a little bit of, you need multiple things here. Do start to hatch a second egg there, but realize they raised the Greymon this turn, so cannot do that. So has a decent amount of memory, can get all the way up to a Gaiomon potentially, but does have to be very cautious as of that that Death X-Mon though. Going to delete that blocker inheritable on that Greymon, or yeah, so definitely got to be careful with what they do here. Looks like they're looking at the X antibody Omnimon here, which they could get up into and then just slow down the game at this point. They could swing over the Zephyrmon very easily, and then just stun the Death X-Mon on the following turn, and anything that gets evoed on top of those Tamers. So probably not a bad play there. You will have to give up your blocker Greymon, but you don't really need a blocker Greymon if you have X antibody Omnimon. Decides to swing first. Doesn't want to go into the Metal Greymon Evo first, because doesn't want to de-Digivolve and give a Tamer back. So swings over it first, then Evos. Makes a lot of sense. You're going to see that Black War Greymon come down, gets to pop something, going to pop that Duo Tamer again, just to prevent that free memory gain. Even though there is a TK on board, they must know that they can't stun us, or they can't choke us, so might as well just prevent the additional memory gain. Looks like they're thinking really hard on that Omnimon. Honestly, not a bad play. Definitely not a bad play. And they'll keep their Greymon inheritable. They'll lose the other stack, but they'll get a really powerful piece on board, and then next turn that Omnimon can swing and just clear the Death X. And you'll still have the Greymon blocker. It's a solid play. I don't know what their alternative choices. They're thinking really hard on it, just keeping it at the top of their hand, it looks like. So just big thoughts, lots on the line here. They're down to 1 security. This is the finals here. Looks like they've got a Gaiomon in hand. They might go for the Blitz here. They will Blitz and crash with the Death X-Mon instead. Oof. And they give up their blocker inheritable Greymon. Ouch, that's a big bummer. So probably should have played that out a little bit differently, I would imagine. Here we're going to see that Kazemon come down. We do see the 1 of Jet Sylphie, just for a little bit of extra insurance there. Didn't have enough memory to do anything else. Might as well use that 1 for a Jet to get a little bit of extra recovery. And then just play a Memory Fixer here to try to guarantee the 2 memory to Evo the hybrid for game next turn. Now, it is a Black War Greymon deck, so there is a big possibility that they could Evo into another Black War Greymon and pop that Kari, though. Evo's into the Chikurimon there and raising. Looks like I do see the Black War Greymon in hand there. I'm tilting my head in real life like it's going to change the video. Just got to be kind of cautious there on those plays. Looks like they're trying to draw into a blocker. Maybe the blocker inheritable Greymon. They could Evo that. Yeah, reduce the Evo with Nokia, and then Evo something on top with... Okay, there we do see that, and they do decide to go ahead and pop that. I don't know, I feel like maybe Evoing the Black War Greymon first, then swinging? I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to risk hitting into more Tamers. It's totally fair. And they did choke us at 1 memory, so it's not like it was a bad play or anything like that. So here we're once again have to be cautious. Think about what they have on the field. They go into a Gaiomon, that's 2. Agu, that's 3. Chikuri is 4. We are at 5, though, so even a Blitz isn't enough. But just playing the Fireball instead, hoping that this round they'll get a little bit aggressive, swing into security, and maybe hit a Tamer. Probably our best hope at this point to try and do something. Honestly, I think evoing into a Gaiomon here, swinging in, and then evoing that Omnimon on top isn't too bad either. Looks like they are going to go for the Blitz. Hits into a Sunrise Buster. Not enough to do anything here. We're going to play out a Tamer for free, though, which is not what they want to see. And another Tamer. Oh, it's getting even worse. That'll pass turn there. And that's going to be a hybrid for game at that point. Oof. Super, super rough there. Very unfortunate security checks. Tried to play it as best they could in control of all the unfortunate tamers they could have hit into. That was probably one of the worst for sure. Just getting enough memory to evo into that hybrid for game there. But we did have the Gaiomon coming up on the following turn if we could have survived one more. Would have been close though for sure. Alright, first up, I just want to cover his deck right quick and show it to you guys. This is very similar to what we showcased earlier this week on the channel already. We just kind of tweaked some ratios here a little bit, playing a couple more of the red Agumons and things like that, trying out the piercing Metal Greymon. He said it didn't really work out for him. Someone suggested Chimeramon in this slot. I think that's brilliant. 2 Chimeramon right here is solid, because then you can always grab whatever inheritable you need from trash. If you need that blocker from the Greymon, you know, grab it. If you want the Metal Greymon being able to attack unsuspended, you know, grab it. Whatever you need for the situation. Yeah, Chimeramon makes a whole lot of sense. It's composite, so Deltamon will actually reduce its Evo cost. Yeah, you won't be able to reduce it with other stuff, but Deltamon will still reduce that Evo cost down for you, and that's extremely good. The rest of the list looks pretty solid, though. He said the Ultimate Flares didn't come in at all throughout the day. Maybe something like an Iron Fisted Onslaught instead that'll allow you to guarantee killing the big stuff, because that's usually what you want to kill anyway. Some sort of removal that might get hit in security. He said the Chikurimon was incredible, though, against D-Reaper. Alright, and here's my deck. I know a lot of people have been wanting to see what I ended up on for this format. Very similar to what we had in previous formats. We did lose the Jet, though, so we're down to 1 copy. To make up for that, I went with Shakuamon. I tried the Rise Greymon, guys. Okay, I tried it. It just didn't work enough. Like, it takes so many turns to play out Tamers in this deck, okay? It just, like, yeah, you could go into another Rise and play out another Tamer, but, like, your Sunrise Busters are super weak in that deck just because you use so much of your Tamers here. You can't stall your opponent out. You have to stay super aggressive in the Rise Greymon deck, and it's not a control-y deck. And I think a control deck is what was needed for this OTK format. The Rise deck is just too slow for this format, okay, and for this style of deck. This is a slow deck, and Rise just, it helps out a little bit, but not enough, and it doesn't provide the answers. So Shakuamon was great, absolutely. I could go, even if I don't have the Jet, I can go Shakuamon, put me up to 6 security, because it heals you if you're at 5 or less. So if you're at 5 security, you can heal up to 6 with Shakuamon, okay? Just, some people were thought that's not how it worked, thought you couldn't go over 5, but it's if you're at 5 or less, you can recover 1. And then we go into Seraphi. That puts us up to 7. For the most part, that's out of OTK range for most of the decks in this format, especially when you start incorporating the fact that you've got massive bombs in your security. If we look at our package here, I went with 3 Gaia Force, just kind of changed some stuff up. I had 2 in here originally. I think I had 2 Gaia Force and 3 Sunrise Busters maybe, and it just was not enough. I think that's what I was running in the Rise one, because we didn't have a whole lot of recovery, so I didn't really feel like the need for a whole bunch of security options. But 100% so much better. Gaia Force is such a beast of a card. Now, this does struggle against something like Alphamon when they go into Doru Greymon and they get that protection, but most of the time it kind of worked out that they would just promote up and then go into it, and then you just kind of try to choke them on the following turn. So they couldn't really pop off on the next turn, and it worked out pretty well for the most part. It does get a little bit sketchy here and there, though. I played Tien Nagayan in, what was it, the terrible Gen Con event, and he whooped me pretty good. But it was best of 1 also, so that did not help. But yeah, played it brilliantly. Alphamon against this deck is still pretty harsh. Just kind of depends on how they do. You just got to play really aggressive. Instead of the Crimson Blade, at first I had the what is it? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. The one we used last format where it was draw 1 minus 1k for everything, for every card in your hand. I thought with the Gaiomons here, we would be doing a ton of drawing, and you know, it would have been really nice, but honestly, it was not enough. Like, some games my hand was huge, other games my hand was like 3 or 4 cards, and that just did not work out for me. So the Crimson Blade was pretty nice, especially whenever I saw that D-Reaper was coming back, and D-Reaper likes to fill up their field with all that weak stuff. Weak on my turn, strong on theirs, but weak on my turn, and Crimson Blades was just so powerful of a card against the D-Reaper matchup, so I really like this one. Fireball is an excellent card. I probably use it maybe a little bit more, actually, to delete rookies than I do to draw. I know a lot of people use this to draw. Maybe that's why the other card didn't help, the yellow card didn't help me as much, just because I use Fireball for actual removal instead of for draw power. But hey, I mean, it works out. It's a really nice way to choke, which we saw in the match here. That 2, put them at 1, cleared off that rookie, and that actually kept them out of OTK range against me. So yeah, I really like the Fireball. The Tamer lineup is great. We don't need as many Zoes anymore because we lost 3 hybrids targets. I don't hit the hybrids in security nearly as much anymore off Zoe. I think a lot of the games I just never have a hybrid in security. Some games I do and it's great, but a lot of games I don't. But it is a nice, let me peek at my security, see where we're at, you know, what all we got in there. I don't mind that. Is it safe to play a TK? Can I play a TK, or do I have too much red and white in there, or black and purple? You know, I just got to be careful with my TKs here. So TK also only at a 3. I don't want to go too overboard. I have a whole lot of not yellow cards in this deck, and TK can definitely hurt me if I'm not cautious enough. And so offsetting that, we've got the Karis there to back TK up for our memory fixer, which is really great in this deck, between the Shakuamons, the Jets, the Seraphis, the Zoes, the TKs. Like, we have all these cards, the reinforced memory boost. We have tons and tons of cards that add to our security. So Kari was fantastic. Plenty of games where Kari was great. Honestly, the Karis were more impactful than the TK and Karis here. Just because how this deck is played, you typically play a little bit more aggressive. The Seraphis getting those 2 security checks that I'm almost always on par or ahead of my opponent. And I'm usually working them down way faster than they're working me down. Because 1, they're scared of my options. 2, they don't want to give me free tamers. So they're super cautious about swinging in against me. And so my security was pretty much always higher than theirs. So these guys are kind of lackluster, but you know, they're still solid in the deck though, either way. Not too much I could replace it with. I could maybe put in some Codys instead, just for that potential memory gain if I've got a yellow on field. And it's only a 3-play cost, so that could be an alternative there. But the Karis are fantastic. Oh my god, they're so good. Not just the fact that they're red and yellow, and yeah, I've got a lot of red and yellow cards in here, or red options particularly, but just the memory gain was so huge, and the lowering of my opponent's security Digimon. So many times my Seraphi would swing in, I'd TK and Kari, and it would just lower whatever Mega was in there just below him, and he would get those 2 checks in and be super solid. Plenty of times my Gaiomons would swing in 2k, and the Taiyan Karis would keep my Gaiomon alive. You know how bad that feels for the opponent? In testing at one point, I had one Gaiomon swing 3 times in a row. 3 turns back to back to back, and he survived because of the Taiyan Kari reducing those rookies down that it was hitting in security. So fantastic, just a absolute must-have for this deck. Just with the Seraphis in here, going for those 2 security checks. The 2 security checks, and then that puts your opponent to 3 security is so nice, because then you're instantly got value off of these guys for the rest of the game. Feels very nice. I definitely love it. Even the Gaiomon, bring them down to 4, and then I just need to tap them with one other thing. Even if it's just like Evo a Kazi, swing the Kazi, now they're at 3. Now I'm just set up for the rest of the game with my Taiyan Karis. Feels really good. Can really play this game, or play this deck super aggressively, as well as it's super control heavy. That's so awesome about this, is I can go just hit the gas and just go boom, 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 boom with a bunch of hybrids. You know, it's like, here, let me just play out my Tamer, and I'll Evo on top of my Tamer and swing. The Sakuyamon is in here for the Grandis. I should mention that right quick. It is for the Grandis. They have to promote up their whatever they have in a raising area, and then you just Gaia Force it, or Sunrise Buster it, whatever they have in raising that they're going to push up that's no longer protected, that level 4, level 5, whatever it is. Yeah, so then you just nuke whatever it is. Really like the deck. control, and gas all in one. Very, very cool.